The Imperial Scorpio seem to think that there's a cache of clan comic books or something in this building. Regardless, it's important, so they don't get it. The Herd of Blake is taking a command level alongside a battle level of challengers, a von Luckner with an elite crew, and some LRMs to do some cleanup work. And from the crazy side of the Inner Sphere, we have the Imperial Scorpio bringing on a Battle Lance, along with a Recon Lance, supported by a Griffin, running just as fast as he can to keep up with the others, a Support Lance, consisting of LRM Carriers and other vehicles, to support their Fire Lance, with Usaimo Dyson right there, ready to kick ass. Look at this bastard right here. It's not like I'm salty or anything about this knucklehead. Salt levels are absolutely minimal in this particular game, as in Alpha Strike, this is one of those learning games where you can, from the Mercenary Handbook, it turns out that you can really stack pilot abilities to a crazy OP Mary Sue kind of level, which I don't really fault him for knowing the rules and executing them. It's just crazy. But for those of you in the know, try to throw in Forward Observer, Oblique Attacker, and Sniper, and throw on some rerolls on that, and just see what kind of craziness you're getting from a unit you'll never see. But I digress. My faults here are on my own, because as you can see, my units are thundering forward on this battle line right here, as fast as they can. The Challenger is about as fast as I'm going to go. We got the Malak playing escort, trying to recon out the side over here. We got the Raijin also holding down the other side. The objective here is to take this Gene Cache / comic book shop here in the middle highlighted. It's going to be fun. Now, craziness aside of trying to drive the Challengers up the staircase, I'm going to send the UrbanMech, who has the Demoralizer special rule, which I just think that's hilarious. And my Ultra Commander sitting around in his tripod are going to have to go up there and do everything he can. My buddy, he was constantly referencing it as the Death Star, but I don't agree. The tripod is cool, but it is no Death Star. So it is around this time that I realized that his anime Mary Sue realized that his hair color is something other than blonde or black, and decides to unload into my Stalker that was trying to also play a little bit of an escort duty, try to flank a little wide, escort this von Luckner right here, and puts him in the first forced withdrawal in the first turn. Just missiles raining from on high from a distance that we can't see. We don't know where they're at. That's fine. We lost a Stalker on the first turn, and I have to admit that's a bummer. I did the math, and we're going to be losing a unit every turn. Say la vie. It's not like against this guy I've ever done that to him before, you know. Pummel him with something from kilometers away that he had no chance to ever do anything about. As they say, karma's a bitch, right? But I do what I can, and one thing that I love about Alpha Strike is that it has the capability of anything with an ammo bin is capable of just selecting whatever specialty munition that they want. You don't have to annotate it on your sheet beforehand. So the Stalker pilot that still has the chutzpah to stay decides to flip the ammo selector bin, go straight to smoke, and starts throwing smoke down on any place where you can see his recon units are starting to sweep around on other sides of my formation in such a way that I need to do something about that. Those forward observers need to die. So the Raijin is sent off to go take care of business against the Mongoose down here over here. Malak is sent up to try to contest the objective. Again, that's not ideal at all, as he's sitting opposite of two mechs, both that way heavier than him individually, while we have the whole Battle Lance on the other side that's willing to contribute to that. So the Malak is going to have to dip, dodge, duck, and dive his way to victory, because we can't let the Challengers go up the hill, right? Because that would be requesting a little bit too much of a tracked vehicle up, stairs. But I digress. That's my own fault. For those of you interested in photography, you can see, if you are attentive, the color shifting on the entire map, because I wasn't paying attention to what my camera was doing on here. It's actually trying to white balance. A lot of times you can actually white balance the camera if it sees something that is a blinding white, and it'll try to balance against that. Well, every now and then, like right now, you can see it balanced against the beige kind of yellow temple in the center, and it's causing everything else to get its color skewed. So, you know, just be mindful of these kind of technical discrepancies. Mary Sue decides that there's a challenger that he does not like, opens up with his LRM bins, and decides that he is going to go be naughty somewhere else. He turns around and immediately starts falling back. There's not much I can do about it. In fact, I'm doing a lot of long-range shots, but I'm hitting on like 11s and 12s, and yeah, that doesn't really work out for me. It does work out against the Mongoose, though, as the Stalker makes a surprise appearance, having just enough movement to clear a line of fire. Even though the Mongoose gets partial cover, he is decked between him and the Raijin. That's one down. We got one other to get rid of before he loses the forward observer mods, which that's all I can really ask for. This Davian mech is actually a really great cavalry unit for the Inner Sphere. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's the Cataphract. I happen to have a very special fondness for it because back when I was playing as a youngster, it was a favorite unit of my father. Word of Blake, winky face, throws out the LRM Carrier and decides to smoke up the other avenue of approach right here because his battle lance is going to be moving through there, and there's a lot of juicy cover positions that he can take in the ruins on the other side that we don't want him to engage in. I want him to be engaging me out in the open because I am slower than dirt. But, you know, I mean, this is the list I brought. Challengers continue moving forward. Tripod Death Master Extreme decides to kind of hold back just a little because we keep him a little bit further back in the initiative track, and you can see his battle lance is starting to move on the opposite side of him. Now we have something to engage, something that's getting close enough for the Tripod, who admittedly I positioned really poorly, can now double back and start thumping over there with its 3 legs and starts engaging all the other Luke. I think his name was Luke. His name was not copyright intentionable. His name was Lou Space Dancer or something like that. In this Battle Hawk wielding battle axe thing whose name evades me right here. This guy right here. It's interesting to note that he too also had all kinds of crazy Street Fighter rules or something like that, which I'm sure we'll get to see. We continue to be aggressive as we can. We need to close the distance and try to find as many shots as we can. Raijin tries to engage the Thor on the other side, but my buddy has successfully placed the Thor in a position that I can't engage him directly without earning the ire of the blue-haired wonder over here, marked right there. So he just ducks and dives for a little while. We're going to engage the Marauder for a turn and see what we can do, because the Marauder was otherwise engaged against the Von Luckner here and all 3 of these challengers. But, you know, it's now 2 because the blue-haired wonder decided, nah, let's get rid of that guy. Malak continues to somehow survive on the hill despite having the firepower of lance and a half being thrown at it from different directions. Meanwhile, the Battle Lance tries to engage the Death Star himself, does so successfully. Malak finally buys it to raw statistics and falls over and dies. And so now it puts us into a raw position. Since the Tripod had to back up to engage the units that were flanking him, now we have to let the challengers try to climb the stairs. Oh, that's great. Realizing my odds were actually better shooting that erstwhile interloper over here, the challengers pan their turrets, open up, and get an ammo crit on the poor guy. Boom! That's one less mech. We got a little lucky. Stalker and Raijin engaged the Marauder, managed to put it down as well, along with the Von Luckner making a nice medium-range shot, earning his keep. But as the situation is pretty patently unraveling for me, I decided to go ahead and back up with everything. I gave up on this. There's no way I'm going to be able to go up that temple to claim the objective over here. So we're just going to try to see what we can do to cause as much damage as possible to try to see if we can't turn the game some other way. Now, I've always said that if you can't win to the whims of the scenario objective, go ahead and do whatever you think is fun. I mean, it's a game. Just have fun. Don't try to be a spoilsport. Don't be salty like me, because I think I was pretty visibly a little miffed, because I was certainly rolling my eyes hard enough to be heard. So I send the Von Luckner out to go ahead and engage the other mechs to to achieve the prophecy that the, 200 or 300-year-old tank is, and let the kids or great-great-grandchildren go off and earn the kind of glory that their great-great-grandparents probably earned before. Imperial Scorpio sends Lou Space Dancer off there to try to engage the tripod and sends other elements of the Battle Lance and what remains of the now depleted Recon Lance, who can no longer forward observe. And thinking that he somehow got me pinned in there, I let the tripod just walk away because he's using like area control on the Cicada. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? It's a tripod. It's just going to brush the Cicada aside. It does not care. But he positioned the Cicada in such a way that I can just walk away from it and not incur any of the problems. So all his close-range combat shenanigans from Lou's Space Dancer never actually ended up doing anything, as now they're in short range with the Death Star itself. So the blue-haired wonder child over here on the other side decides to go ahead and rain fire on it, and between it and the combined fire of the rest of everything that can see the Death Star, they do manage to put the Death Star down at the end of the turn. But it's not before we manage to deck out several more units on their side and more or less cinch the game for them. Even the demoralizing the UrbanMech was over there, and he's just channeling his inner Lee Ernie and just shouting at everyone and managed to demoralize everyone. That was just hilarious. But that's where we called the game. I'd lost nearly everything. I mean, it was pretty clear that I was about to lose a lot more. I went ahead and called it. He played a good game. I don't really fault him for taking the blue-haired wonder child. I just wonder what Catalyst was thinking. I really want to see more field manuals or some sort of a official appropriate response. To my buddy's credit, he just admitted that it was kind of OP and just let me take some extra special characters for my own stuff, but it's really up to you whether or not that was smart or not. This has been an Ouchies Batrep, and thanks for watching. I can't understate enough just how much that Longbow 12C was just ruining everything. He just shot at something, it dies, shot at, and then the part of it was because we weren't using variable damage, which in the next few games it's pretty clear that variable damage really helps because it makes everything really killy without it. And really, a lot of the faults in this game, despite the blue-haired wonder child, are my own. I mean, I just put together a list with tanks and big things and just kind of called it a day. I didn't really put too much thought into it. I was just having fun. And then I lost. Go figure. But it was a good game, and I had fun. So, catch you next time.
Sword.
Okay, you could have just said baloney.
He's really good at it.
You're just abusing the rules. Okay.
Have you not met him before?
Yeah, I know. I should have come to expect it, but I was just like, nah, this will be a friendly game in which I don't get completely clobbered. These happen. This always happens. I'm not singling you out, but in any game system, you always have that session where you're like, oh geez, this is going to be a painful learning experience. And this is one of them. There's going to be more recon. Okay, so UrbanMech was shooting at the Cicada because I've hated him since turn 1.
That's a justifiable response.
7.